With inflation, the banking world collapse, and everything that Joe Biden is doing not to protect America, you need to make sure to secure your financial health, especially in retirement. And hey, if you're a millennial like me, that actually is sooner than you think. You need to start now, even if you are a millennial or a Gen Zer, to make sure that your financial health is actually healthy when we get to retirement. And Legacy Precious Metals has a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in gold and silver online in real time. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped right to your door. You'll have access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar, and this puts you in complete control of your money. The platform is free to sign up for. Visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and against a volatile stock market. A truly diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but different asset classes. This brand new platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Visit legacypm.com to get started. You can download the free investor's guide, and you can also call Legacy PM Investments to talk to a portfolio expert to get expert answers to your to customize your personal portfolio. So visit legacypminvestments.com to get started. Tell them that Jenna sent you.
As a constitutional law attorney, Jenna Ellis believes in the rule of law and the importance of integrity in our elections. And she's ready to tackle the big cultural and legal issues facing America. This is the Jenna Ellis Show. Here is your host, Jenna Ellis.
Well, good morning. And in a stunning and unprecedented decision, even according to CNN, those are their words, stunning and unprecedented, the Colorado Supreme Court on Tuesday, just last night, removed former President Donald Trump from the state's 2024 ballot, ruling that he isn't an eligible presidential candidate because of the 14th Amendment's quote-unquote insurrection ban. This was a 4-3 ruling. It was a per curiam opinion, and it will be placed on hold until January 4th, pending Trump's appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, which could settle the matter for the nation. So this state Supreme Court decision currently only applies to Colorado, but the historic ruling will impact the 2024 presidential primary currently. And the Colorado GOP has already responded and said that if this decision stays in place, they will just switch to a caucus system. And there is speculation on exactly how that would go and how that would outflow from this state Supreme Court decision. So here to break this all down for us is my good friend Alan Dershowitz, who is a phenomenal attorney, a professor emeritus at Harvard Law School, and of course was one of President Trump's attorneys on the first impeachment, where I was also privileged to be part of that legal team. So Alan, good morning. This is an absolutely insane opinion, and what is your initial response to it?
Part of the Get Trump effort. It's completely unconstitutional and completely inconsistent with democratic principles. By the way, the decision itself applies to every single state. It's just that it can't be enforced in other states. But the opinion doesn't say that under Colorado law he can't run. It says under the 14th Amendment he can't run, which means if that precedent is followed, he can't run in any states. Now, Colorado obviously is a state that Trump is not likely to win, but if courts follow the illogic and ahistorical analysis of the Colorado court, that precedent would be applicable all over the country. So this is a dramatic interference with the right of every citizen to vote on who our next president is going to be. It also flies in the face of the explicit text of the 14th Amendment. Just read you one part of it, Section 5. The Congress, that means the United States Congress, shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So the framers of the 14th Amendment allocated to the Congress, not to individual state courts the power to make provisions that enforce this. And Congress hasn't done it because Congress knows that the 14th Amendment, which is a post-Civil War amendment, essentially the peace treaty between the North and the South, was not intended to circumvent the usual impeachment provisions of the Constitution, which also provide for a disqualification, but you need 2/3 of a vote of the Senate. This reading of the Constitution says that the framers of the 14th Amendment just ignored the rest of the Constitution and said, well, you don't need these procedural safeguards. If any person thinks that a candidate shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion without a criminal conviction or any other essential process, that's enough to bring it to the courts, and then the courts will decide who can run for president. It's hard to imagine anything more undemocratic than that, and I am confident that the Supreme Court, perhaps unanimously, will strike down this Colorado decision.
And I share your hope that the Supreme Court will strike this down. I'm skeptical that it would be unanimous just because of the blatant activism coming from some of the justices that are specifically biased against President Trump or more to the left in their overall judicial philosophy. But this is much more important than whether you support Donald Trump for president, as you and I, Alan, both do not, and we've expressed that. But this opinion is wrong, and first and foremost, before politics and before we have the right to actually engage with our vote, we have to have the process that is free and fair. And so you and I both advocate for this opinion to be overturned because it is absolutely wrong. It is a misreading of the 14th Amendment. And you're right to point out Section 5 that the Colorado Supreme Court really didn't address, and instead is just making that finding. How impactful, if at all, or critical is it that the trial court in Colorado on the district court level did make a finding based on the evidence presented at trial that Donald Trump was engaged in an insurrection? That was the predicate finding to this ultimate opinion.
But that's not a factual finding. There's no interpretation of what insurrection means. Is Black Lives Matter involved in insurrection? To the people who are protesting against Israel now and calling for the United States to do whatever they're doing, are they involved in an insurrection? You need a definition. You need to have some procedural and substantive safeguards. We don't have that. So the decision of the district court was simply wrong. It marshaled facts that certainly didn't put Donald Trump in a good light, but it didn't come to a factual conclusion that he was involved in an insurrection or rebellion, because he simply wasn't. He was trying to enforce what he believed was the appropriate rule. He was wrong. He was dead wrong. But that's not an insurrection. And why should I be denied the right to vote against him? I want him to be defeated fair and square, without the thumb of the judiciary being on the election.
Yeah, that's incredibly well said. And how important then on the flip side is it that the second impeachment of President Trump was a finding of not guilty on the exact same facts here? I mean, Congress has already made that determination. And so clearly they have not enforced through legislation anything regarding the 14th Amendment or any sort of applicability to the presidential election in 2024. But they have made a finding of not guilty on this exact same facts.
Yeah, I mean, double jeopardy doesn't apply to disqualification provisions, but you'd think that since this is a federal issue, the fact that the Senate of the United States made its determination has to have some relevance. But the major issue is that the text of the Constitution simply is not applicable. This Section 3 was part of the Civil War, post-Civil War peace treaty, essentially. It was Donald Trump's old, but he's not old enough to have fought in the Civil War. And the idea that this was designed as a general substitute for impeachment and disqualification provisions that exist in the Constitution requires an incredible stretch and a political stretch. And, I hate to point out the fact that all 7 of the justices of the Colorado Supreme Court are Democrats, but or appointed by Democrats. But it does present a kind of partisan weaponization of the Constitution. And of course, the other side's going to fight back by having caucuses. But remember, too, the Constitution is very broad in how it allocates the power to the states to determine who the electors should be and how the electoral vote shall be cast. So there are many ways that the Republicans, if they wanted to fight back, could do so, but it will cause tremendous disarray in the election. And what I worry about after the last election, where President Trump mistakenly claimed that he had won, what I worry is that this election will be inconclusive if Trump is not allowed to run in every single state. And there'll be real opposition by the American public, not only by people who are pro-Trump, but by people who are like me and you who are not pro-Trump, who don't believe that courts have the power to take away the right. And I hate the fact that this is now up to the Supreme Court because they're just another court. This should not be in the hands of any courts. This should be hands of Congress. Congress hasn't taken any action on this, and then it should be in the hands of the public. And we have to decide who the next president is, not either the Supreme Court of Colorado or the Supreme Court of the United States.
And you're absolutely right. My guest this morning is Alan Dershowitz, professor emeritus at Harvard Law and an attorney, formerly President Trump's own attorney, and on the first impeachment. And, you raised some really excellent points there as well. I mean, how practically would this even work if the Supreme Court doesn't take this up? I think that they have to and settle this for the country. But I could see up until their opinion, some of the blue states will now just take this advisory opinion, basically, or this influential opinion, and they would then direct their own secretaries of state to take him off the ballot. And how would that even work if he's not eligible on, say, Colorado, California, New York, Michigan, a couple of those states, but then is eligible everywhere else and somehow actually wins the primary because there aren't enough states that go along with this particular opinion?
Well, he'd then be the nominee. What I'm concerned about is Texas has already hinted, well, maybe Biden will be taken off the ballot. After all, maybe his opening the floodgates to immigrants constitutes a form of insurrection or rebellion. Nonsense, total nonsense, but not much different than the nonsense coming from the Colorado Supreme Court. So are we going to have dueling disqualifications depending on whether it's a red state or a blue state? That's not what the framers of the Constitution had in mind. After the 1800 election, the Constitution was amended because a mistake was made in the drafting of the Constitution, and it didn't provide for a distinction between electoral votes cast for the president and the vice president. But after that, in the 12th Amendment, we've had a pretty good run of being able to have elections. We had an election in, 1920 and 1924, where Eugene V. Debs, who was in jail essentially for insurrection, ran for president. He lost, but he got, I think, 3 million votes or something like that. And it never occurred to anybody to take Eugene V. Debs off the ballot, even though, he in the minds of some, advocated the overthrow of the government. So, this is just not something that the Colorado court should have gone near. But, with the weaponization of our Constitution today by both sides, we're going to see tit-for-tat retaliation, and the losers will be the voters of the United States who have the right to make the decision.
Absolutely. And the thing that is one of the most wild parts about this opinion from the Colorado Supreme Court is that it contains no limiting principle. And so when you mention that Republicans could then go and try to get Biden disqualified under some broad theory of insurrection, that he didn't close the border and it's an invasion, I actually think that Republicans in Colorado should go and file that suit and force then the Democrat-controlled Colorado Supreme Court to analyze that issue and say, is this just because you hate Donald Trump, which of course clearly it is, but this is why this precedent is so bad. And so, in just the last 2 minutes I have with you, Alan Dershowitz, and I so appreciate your time, I think everyone's so frustrated with the robed petty tyrants. And what can we possibly do to prevent this kind of ahistorical nonsense and this bad precedent that continues to come out that is weaponizing our government?
Well, one of the problems, of course, is that, we can talk about it, we can bring lawsuits, but now the Get Trump people are going after lawyers. They're attacking lawyers. They're saying if you bring a lawsuit that we don't approve of, we're going to sanction you. We're going to disbar you. The attack on lawyers has made it even more difficult today to de-weaponize our system of justice, and the weaponization extends to every aspect of our legal system, including the disciplining of lawyers. So I worry deeply. I've never been more worried about our country than I am today. I'm worried because of what's going on in Colorado. I'm worried because of the whole Get Trump mentality. I'm worried about, the incredible increase in bigotry and anti-Semitism and hatred that is on our college campuses. These kids, these Hitler youth that are marching today against Jews in Israel are our future leaders, and they're going to be on the courts 20 years from now making decisions like this. So this is the time to stop it.
Yeah, and it is a really concerning view for the future, and not just for the impending presidential election in 2024, but even 20 years from now, and looking at even some of the opinions from the U.S. Supreme Court that are not tethered to any kind of reasonable interpretation of the Constitution, and we see judicial activism, and we continue to see all of that. It is very scary, and so again, just in the last 2 minutes I have with you as well, is it possible, my concern from the Supreme Court and their potential opinion, because there has not yet been a conviction in any court of law, even though, as you rightly point out, Section 5 gives the enforcement power to Congress, is it possible that the Supreme Court could be so spineless as to say, well, this opinion is stayed unless and until there may be a conviction in the future that would simply accelerate some of this other weaponization of government against Donald Trump?
Well, especially the conviction would occur in the District of Columbia, where over 90% of the jury pool hates Donald Trump. And so, of course, there's going to be a conviction in the District of Columbia. No rational person would bet against that. And so that would be a terrible, terrible decision, because even if there is a judicial decision or a verdict of guilt, that's not enough under any reasonable interpretation of Section 3 of the Constitution.
Well, Alan Dershowitz, I really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much. And we will see how the U.S. Supreme Court takes this up and if and when they do. And so you can read this full opinion at the Colorado Supreme Court's website. I have also posted it on my X feed. This is number 23 SA 300. It's Anderson versus Griswold. And this is just, again, a wild opinion that does not have a limiting principle. So what we mean by that in law is that there is nothing, it's such a broad opinion that, and a broad interpretation of the 14th Amendment, that there is nothing to say that anything couldn't be characterized as an insurrection and a disqualification, for example, of Joe Biden, or if the left wanted to weaponize this, even against Governor DeSantis, because he formerly held federal office, and actually members of Congress fall specifically under the 14th Amendment. And so no limiting principle to say that this opinion only catches specific, very precise content. conduct. It's just broad and it's totally open. And that is a very dangerous precedent for the future. And Alan Dershowitz was right that this is against the history and also the text of the U.S. Constitution, because in Section 3, the president, as a former office holder, Donald Trump, the office of president, is not even mentioned as one of the specific persons that is subject to Section 3. So it talks about, and it starts, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States. And so an office under the United States is not the head of the executive branch who can appoint officers. And that's the argument from now the ACLJ and our good friend Jay Sekulow, who is representing the Colorado Republican Party in this appeal. And the ACLJ actually posted a really good article that I would commend to your reading on this issue that goes into detail about how this Colorado Supreme Court opinion got it wrong, some of the arguments that they're going to present to the U.S. Supreme Court. But the bottom line here is we need to be praying for our Supreme Court justices that they would do the right thing constitutionally, because this is not a matter of politics. Remember, it's all about what can the government do in this instance. The justices and judges do not have that power. Section 5, as Alan Dershowitz rightly said, is given to Congress. So they do not have this authority. So we have to pray that the U.S. Supreme Court does the right thing here and we preserve and protect our constitutional republic over and above any politics. It doesn't matter whether we support or don't support Donald Trump. This opinion is wrong.
With inflation, the banking world collapse, and everything that Joe Biden is doing not to protect America, you need to make sure to secure your financial health, especially in retirement. And hey, if you're a millennial like me, that actually is sooner than you think. You need to start now, even if you are a millennial or a Gen Zer, to make sure that your financial health is actually healthy when we get to retirement. And Legacy Precious Metals has a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in gold and silver online in real time. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped right to your door. You'll have access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar, and this puts you in complete control of your money. The platform is free to sign up for. Visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and against a volatile stock market. A truly diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but different asset classes. This brand new platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Visit legacypm.com to get started. You can download the free investor's guide, and you can also call Legacy PM Investments to talk to a portfolio expert to get expert answers to your to customize your personal portfolio. So visit legacypminvestments.com to get started. Tell them that Jenna sent you.
My friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help you get the best night's sleep of your life. He didn't stop at the pillow. Mike also created the Giza Dream bed sheets. I have them. I love them. These sheets look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep, which is crucial for our overall health. Mike found the world's best cotton called Giza. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. Mike's latest deal is the sale of the year. For a limited time, you will receive 50% off the Giza Dream Sheets marketing prices, down as low as $29.98, depending on the size. So go to mypillow.com and click on the radio podcast square and use promo code Jenna, Jenna. There, you'll find not only this amazing offer, but also deep discounts on all MyPillow products, including the MyPillow 2.0 mattress topper, MyPillow kitchen towel sets, and so much more. I have all of this. I love it. Everything from MyPillow and also mystore.com. You can use promo code Jenna. So go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Jenna, and also mystore.com. And remember, use the promo code Jenna.